Law 28. Enter action with boldness. This is one of those laws that I would say everyone needs to apply. There's certain laws from this book that I think it's not necessarily that you'll ever have to use them, but it's at least useful to understand how people are going to try to manipulate you. But this is a law that I think absolutely everybody should apply, because the only way to ensure that you gave it your all, that you really put it all on the table, is to always go in head first. Always go in and never hold anything back. Like, if you see an opportunity, you have to take it. You can't stick your toe in the door if you're trying to get that interview. You got to stick your whole foot. Like, it's so frustrating, but the easiest example that, all the pickup guys always say is like, the second you hesitate with a girl, just give up, because that second that you hesitated, that's you telling yourself in your mind that you're not capable. And in that split second where you hesitate, another guy might come up and talk to her, and you just missed out on a potential wife, on a potential family, on a potential great life, because you hesitated. So you always just have to act when you see that opportunity. The second you see something in front of you, you have to take it. And I'm not saying that if it's not a good option, obviously don't take it. But when you're choosing to go, when you're choosing to act, you better go all in. And it's so frustrating that more and more of us don't do this. And it's like, I want to take you back a few years where I was like, I was hesitant about talking about certain subjects on this channel. I was hesitant about sharing my opinions or sharing stories or opening up or doing these things. And it's like, I was never going to get the recognition I wanted if I never exposed those parts of my life, if I never talked more honestly, if I never brushed up against subjects that I was previously avoiding. Like, the more authentic I am, the more authentic people can take my message, the more relatable it is. And how am I ever going to be successful if I'm just going half-ass? If I'm just sharing 10% of my knowledge, if I'm just sharing 10% of my experience, like, I'm never going to get the recognition I want. And it's the same thing with your life. Like, whatever it is that you're trying to do, you're probably not giving it your all. If you're trying to get in shape and you're only, going to the gym a few times a week, you're not that strict on your diet, you have a bunch of junk food all over your house, like, no changes are going to be made. I'm not saying like you have to do it in an unsustainable way, but I'm saying like, when you make a decision, you better go all out. You better go all in. And it's frustrating, but like, at the same time, like, we have to understand that like, every second that we waste is a second of our life that we'll never get back. And I'm not saying that, inaction and procrastination and these other things don't have a benefit to your creativity. Like, that's a whole other issue. But when you act, you better go all in. Like, and it's not for me. It's not for me to get more views that I'm saying this. I'm saying this because like, I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I made pretty much my entire life. Like, I was always that person that would, want to do great things, would want to do this, would want to do that, but I would always go 10%. Like, there was one point in my life where I wanted to start making beats, and I started playing around with the stuff. But whenever push came to shove, and I was hungry or I was busy or I was doing this, I was doing that, like, I would always just say like, you know what, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do it the next day, or I'll do it this, and then like, I really never ended up trying it. I really never ended up pouring myself into it and pouring my time into it. And it's like, it's such a shame, because like, back then music was such a big part of my life, and like, it would have just deepened my love for it if I was creating it myself. Like, maybe I wouldn't have made millions of dollars, but I guarantee you that was a pastime that if I kept doing, like, and I got decently good at, like, it would have been something I could have done in my downtime instead of, watching YouTube or, going on TikTok or like whatever it was that I was doing at the time. Like, I guarantee you that's a much better outlet than whatever stupid shit I was doing. And it's like, the only reason I didn't fall in love with this passion, the only reason I didn't do these things is because I always held myself back. I always said like, you know what, when I have more time, I'm gonna throw myself into this. But like, there's no such thing as more time. Your life, if anything, is just gonna get busier and busier, and you just have to act. You just have to say like, it's now or never. I'm just going all in. I'm doing it. I'm gonna try. And if I fail, I fail. But at least I know that I didn't half-ass it. At least I know that I wasn't good enough, because there's always that like David Goggins, his biggest fear, I agree with this 100%, but his biggest fear is that when it's all said and done, when he's on his deathbed, when he's up in heaven, when he's getting judged by God, he's going to be given a list of his accomplishments. And he doesn't want that list of his accomplishments to be compared to what he could have been, and God say like, you know what, you could have done all these great things, but you never tried. It's that simple. And it's like, if you could live your life in that way, if you could live your life saying like, you know what, I don't want to leave anything on the table. I don't want to leave any experience. I don't want to leave any triumph or any loss or any sort of thing in my life like just unfulfilled, you're gonna live a good life. And this is the first step to going after it, like putting yourself all the way in, acting boldly. When you have a decision, don't hesitate, don't stop, go right away, boom, and it's done. With that said, I'll leave a link in the description to this book. Tremendous book. I think it has a lot of wisdom in it. I think it's super interesting how Robert Greene uses examples through history. Like, our entire lives, we've been told to focus on studies, that this study says this study that said that. But what I love about this book is it goes over exceptional people who have done exceptional things in history and puts you in their psyche, puts you in their mindset. And now, because you understand their mindset, you can understand their motivations, and you can start to think like a genius throughout history. So I think that's so much more beneficial than falling for the averages, than falling for, oh, you can only gain this amount of muscle in this amount of like time. Like, shut the fuck up. I'm tired of this bullshit. Like, I want to think like a great mind. I don't want to think like somebody who bases my life on the averages of humanity. So, again, the link for this book will be in the description. Thank you so much for making this far. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. If you guys have been here for a while, like, I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. Peace out.